Hey guys, Eli here. Welcome to part 1 of my Petrified review series where I go through issues of the infamous Petrified zine of the early 90s and review releases that were covered. Today I'll be covering Convulse's Lost Equilibrium EP from 1993. Convulse are a Finnish death metal band that formed back in 1990. They are at this point legendary, especially because of their 1991 debut full-length album, World Without God, which is a Finnish death metal all-time classic. However, going back to 1993, they were still young guys looking to write a follow-up to that massive debut. A lot of the Finnish bands at that time were known to experiment and evolve. Just take a look at Zizma and Amorphous. Now, they didn't all go in a direction like that, but some certainly did. Some bands are content to take the AC/DC approach and continue what they do and do it well. Convulse seemed to not be interested in that approach. They would get right back to work after the release of World Without God, and in 1992 would record a 2-song promo to use to shop around to labels. That promo would get them signed to a still young but up-and-coming US label, Relapse Records. Relapse would release this 2-song promo as an EP in 1993 titled Lost Equilibrium. Smart move. The songs were already recorded, and this would be something they could use to gain interest in the band while they worked on the next full-length album. Now, we are here to talk about the Lost Equilibrium EP, right? Let's get to it. We have the first song, Lost Equilibrium, clocking in at 8 minutes. Not your standard death metal song length at all. Not many death metal bands were doing that in 1993. The second song, titled Memories, comes in at just over 4 minutes. Now, what do the songs sound like? Almost nothing like World Without God. And I have to say, now that I have had years for these songs to warm up to me, they really have, because I used to not like them at all. Both songs would appear on the 1994 sophomore album, Reflections. My guess would be that Convulse were highly influenced by fellow countrymen Zizma, who released an album in 1991 that these Convulse songs really remind me of. Clearly, Thorns of Petrified zine felt the same. Now, despite the shift in style, I must say that I think these songs are amazing. The songwriting is incredibly strong and forward-thinking. The musicianship is equally impressive. There is an epic feel to the start, and is instantly captivating. Demands your attention before loosening up a little bit and moving into more of a groovy rock and roll type sound. Track 2 begins with some cool angular riffing, reminiscent of King Crimson, or even Voivod, or both. At the 1 minute and 18-second mark, I'm hearing Iron Maiden riffs. This track doesn't have the atmosphere the first one does, but it makes up for it by rocking really hard. The blast beats and fast riffing at the 2 minute and 3-second mark is also very cool. The time changes here are seamless, and again, the songwriting on display is just so impressive, as is the musicianship. Now, I did mention the occasional groovy kind of rock and roll type sounds going on here, and I wanted to say don't let that description turn you away. I still very much consider this death metal, just more of a forward-thinking style. This is not stripped-down music made in favor of commercialism, and I won't hear anyone crying sellout. Now, in retrospect, I mentioned that these 2 songs would go on to appear on the second album from 1994, Reflections. I haven't heard that album in years, and I am wondering if my opinion has changed because I had not really cared for that album in the past. And I am wondering because I am enjoying the hell out of these 2 songs. I'm going to give this EP a 10 out of 10, full marks, for those interested in forward-thinking death metal like Death, Atheist, Pestilence, Believer, and even Cynic should be able to appreciate this. As well as the more rockin' stuff by mid-period Entombed or mid-period Dismember.